Mark, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great, thank you. We just came in from some holidays, some trips to Cyprus as well, business trips. Um, Feeling very energized. We recently had also a change in our company, where I formally took the role of CEO of Talexio.
Well done.
So I am boosted by these events.
Okay.
So feeling very energized. And there's some interesting things in the works. So I'm feeling really good about that.
Nice. First of all, congratulations on your new role.
Thank
Off,
you.
off mic or off camera, you were sharing a little bit that this was in the pipeline. Obviously, there was an element of succession planning,
Yes.
of course. However, when this happened, when this came official, what changed for Mark?
Okay. So what changed is that instead of focusing primarily and almost entirely on the product, for our listeners and viewers, the company is called Talexio. We are an HR product, HR and payroll software. And so far, I've been mostly responsible. My job title was Chief Product Officer. So I was primarily responsible of the product team. The team that builds this product, um, I believe, and fortunately, I have some data to back me up. I believe we've done a good job at uh, building a world-class product. Now I need to expand a bit my horizons and my vision and leadership to encompass the full organization. There's sales, there's marketing, there's different aspects of it as we grow into other regions as well. Not only into other regions, we're making strides locally as well, and there's a lot to be done still. But this gives me a bit of a wider jurisdiction, and also the ability to bring my vision to fruition. So that's a bit what changed for me. It's been a very exciting journey. I've been very lucky to have great partners in this venture. At the same time, we also announced that Lara is taking the role of CEO in Connect, our recruitment agency.
Okay.
We've had this relationship for a long time. I started working with Connect in 2009. So I was the only developer in the team, software engineer. I was still studying at MCAS, but I started a semi full time job while I was still studying. So I was just juggling things. But from the get go, we had a very good relationship between Connect and back then it was called Prio Software. We had a software company. I had started my software company. But immediately we started building software for HR, for recruiters, for Connect. Eventually we pivoted to be a product company, completely. Talexio, we renamed the company. That's when I took the role of Chief Product Officer. We continued building up. Instead of selling our time as a software company, which is what we used to do before, we were now building our own product, which is a very different kind of business and undertaking.
For sure.
Much better, in my opinion. Much more fun. You can really make the best that you can imagine, and that's where. Sorry, I went
It's okay.
into all this.
You're on the spotlight today.
Yes.
Is there just a curiosity as well? Is there a reason behind why it's called Talexio?
Um, Alex is just a name.
Okay.
My wife is called Alex. Some people think it's related, but it's not. um, no, not really. So it's a
Okay.
name. We had done an exercise to come up with a name that works. That's a catchy name that you can
Okay.
remember. There's no real reason behind that name. No.
Okay.
It's a product name. People, what's Google? What's there's many products that
For sure.
you could. So that's,
From a business point of view, because I've recently embarked on this sort of like journey at Endeavour where you provide a service, you have sort of like the baseline, but then you productilize what you're selling. What's the shift between sort of like billable hours
Mhm.
and selling a product?
It's a massive shift. It's a massive difference. I think we fully pivoted close to COVID, a bit before COVID, which was good for us because suddenly the software business,
took
no
off.
one wanted to do software anymore, and we were sort of panicking what's going to happen. It was a difficult time, COVID. Um, the nature of business is completely different, even as a software engineer. So I am a software engineer as a background. When you have a client who comes with a request to solve a problem for them, we used to sit down with them, we'd come up with a piece of software that we would build for you. So we're selling our hours to you,
Yes.
but I'd give you a quote and tell you, listen, this will take 80 hours, 4,000 euros. This is what it is. You say yes, and then I must meet
The
that
expectation.
expectation, and also as a business I need to make it feasible. I need to stick within the amount of
Yeah.
money that I'm being paid. Otherwise I'm going to
Yeah.
use my engineers on time which is not paid, which makes it very, you can be efficient at it, and we were efficient at it, but it's from a product mindset, it's not the same thing. You're not building the best you can possibly offer. You're building the best you can possibly offer within that budget.
Yeah.
When you're a product company, your team is constantly thinking about how to make this the best product out there. So then I could start investing in quality assurance, in UX design. So I have a UX designer, I have a quality team, we have an insights team. So we can obviously spend more money, but the result is a much more polished offering. And our users aren't just buying something and then it will slowly deteriorate, which is the reality with most custom software.
Yeah.
You've had products in the past that do a lot of customizations. Inevitably, because these customizations were done for you at a price for you, these will deteriorate. No one is maintaining them. No one is investing the amount of time and energy needed to maintain those, to make them up to standard, to keep them in line with trends that are changing. So having your own product, your energy and your mindset and having your own product, your energy and your mindset is completely devoted to building the best tool you can offer. This has allowed us to make huge strides. Before, while we were still a software company, we had already started building Talexio. We were building an applicant tracking system, the first type, this is the first product that was Talexio.
Yes. I remember using it. I was a user myself. So
Yes, it was an okay product,
yeah.
but it was very different than what Talexio is today. Talexio, what it is today, has, in my opinion and in the opinion of many of our clients, an amazing team that is constantly looking to make this the best it can be. I think that's a very good position to be in. And even if you look at international products, they achieve the scale that they achieve because they're very focused on it. I still get some people approaching me because I am a software engineer, telling me, listen, I have this idea. It's a great idea. Shall we build it together? Today, I have to say, no, we will not build this together. The reason is that if you do something like this, in my opinion, you need to dedicate your life to it. If you build a product, you need to be all in on it. It's not about the ideas and just writing some code. In fact, today it's becoming even easier to write any code you want, right? You go on Cloud Code, give it a prompt, and I have a product, right? It is true, and you can get a good product, but the level of thinking, the level of support that goes into a product makes all the difference. And that's what will keep us ahead, hopefully. And we need to we need to embrace new technologies, but we need to retain our edge as well. One of the things I'm proudest of in Talexio is our support team. We have a 99% CSAT rating, customer support satisfaction rating, which is quite unique in the age of cloud software. Usually cloud software doesn't do not have good ratings or good support. But I meet clients, and the first thing they tell me, listen, send my regards to Elsa, or send my regards to Daniel, or Alistair, or Christina, or Stefan, because they're amazing. And this is something it's something I'm very proud of. We were speaking to some American consultants, very big consultants, everyone knows, if you look up software consultants, etc. But they were impressed by this as well. They told us, you have something really special here, and you should really keep that. So that's the thing I'm proudest of. We are a product company now. We are very focused on doing a good product. And I think there's a lot to go as well.
I can see the passion in the way that you speak about it. You really stand behind your product and your team, which is something to cherish as well. Something that I took out from what you shared, Mark, is the tangibility of a product. So once you make something tangible that people can see, witness, use in your case, the easier it becomes, not only for customers to come along, but also for the team to stand behind. Because if it's not a product, it's a service, what do you stand behind? Do you stand behind the purpose, the vision, perhaps, or the leader themselves, because they are a role model, because they're someone that you aspire to become like, for example. If you're building customizable products, let's say, there is no one thing which is tangible that you dedicate yourself to, but rather many things. And for some people that might work, but obviously I think what I'm appreciating is the strength that you have with something which is tangible.
I don't want to subtract from the value of great service. We have a service company as well, which is Connect, and what stands out there is the level of service that we offer, and the attention to detail, and how we take care of our candidates, not just our clients, not just the people who are paying, but also the people who are looking for a job. We really help them find the best role for their careers. So there's a lot of value in service. It's not what we're doing as Talexio. We're doing product. It changes the game. So both are valuable in their own way. I'm not saying that one is better than the other. As an engineer, with some affinity to the HR industry, I enjoy this more because one of my passions, as you know, is technology. I set out when I started Prio Software, for the first iteration of our company, to use technology to do good. I believe that technology can be harmful and can be helpful. Both are possible. And I want to dedicate my time and the time of the people around me, and I want to surround myself with people who are also equally motivated to use technology to make real positive change. So it is a bit about legacy. It is a bit about what do we leave behind. When someone asks me this question, I say that I want to leave the world a better place than when I wasn't here. I won't be here eventually, so I want to have made some difference in that sense, and hopefully that is positive. Actually, I'm making sure it's positive, right? I don't want gray areas. I don't want to work in a gray area where maybe some people are benefiting. In the HR space, especially, I think the main goal of the role is to ensure that individuals are doing well, individuals are happy at their job, and organizations are thriving. I think by finding that balance, everyone wins, right? Businesses need to make money, yes, but they will make more money if the people working in their companies are happy and inspired and motivated, and they receive the right kind of feedback. They feel fulfilled. It just happens that by doing so, we're also helping the business thrive. I am very passionate on the former side, on helping the individuals. Technology is something I happen to be good at. Something as a technology native, I was, and this is some interesting things about me. I was one of those kids who, at age 13, I was always on my computer. So I was a gamer. I still am. Um, so headset, Ventrilo back then, and TeamSpeak, the software.
Yes,
Today
yes.
there's Discord, and I was always online with my friends. I am still friends with them today, those same people, and I'm still very native to digital space. Today, I often hear from parents who are very concerned that their children are always playing on the computer. Um, to be honest, I am less concerned about those and more concerned about the younger children who are on their tablets, etc. I feel there's a sort of a different kind of dynamic there,
Yeah.
which is more concerning. But when people are with their friends online, they have a sense of community. I see a lot of value in it because I have experienced it.
Yes,
And
yes.
I used to go to school and sleep on the desk.
Because you spend the night.
Because I spent the night
playing
gaming all night long. But there was a sense of community. We were a group of friends. We go in together. We used to do clan wars, we called them. So we had a team. We'd do tactics. We used to play World War II games.
Okay,
So that was really, for me, it was formative in its own way.
for sure.
So, technology, I was on the computer all the time. First, I wanted to create games. I was coding in Ultima Online. It's a popular
Okay,
game. The
okay.
first MMO before
Okay,
World of
okay.
Warcraft, the first massively multiplayer online game.
Okay,
Sorry.
okay,
So we had a server. I was the admin of the server.
okay.
It was on back then. It was called. It's part of Maltanet back then. So before Go, they used to host this server on their servers. We had this community, and I was the admin of the server. I was in my own nerdish way. The server, I wanted to make it a role-playing server
Okay.
where you needed to play your character. You log into the server, you can't say, guys, let's go kill that thing. You needed to do it in character. So I was
Okay.
that kind of nerd. Today, you have not today, there's the D&D kind of thing.
Yes,
So I was
yes.
trying to do this environment in this server online. But we had a community, a local community, a lot of people joining and playing. We used to build worlds in this game. And eventually I wanted to do some programming for it. So
Okay.
I was trying to create my own scripts. And that's where I started to get into programming. I was still secondary school. Fortunately, I had some good mentors as well in school. I think the computer studies teacher used to encourage me to build websites.
Okay.
So I then started making some websites. I did a website for our class, form3a.9k or something. It was one of those free domains. So that's how I started getting into programming.
Okay.
But I was native on the computer. I was always online on my RC, chatting. I met my wife online, right? Eventually I married her. It was on High Five that we met.
I remember.
So this being nested in the internet with all its dangers, with all its has allowed me to want to use technology, to use it in the right way. I know there's a lot of bad things there. There's bullying, there's
Yes.
all sorts of issues, but I want to use it for good. Technology, software company, building software, then HR. With
Yes.
our proximity to Connect, it was inevitable that we would be infected with the HR bug. So that's a bit my journey, how I got to here.
Okay. You're making my job very easy today.
Sorry.
And that's okay, because you're hitting most things that our audience turn up for
Mhm.
the growth schema. So I'm really appreciating the humanity that you're bringing to the table as well, because you're linking two things that I think most would think that are separate realms, to use a bit of a
Mhm,
gaming
mhm,
jargon as
mhm.
well, is that the technology and the human side, or gaming with socialization. These two things, um, people might think that they are like water and oil, like so.
Mhm.
But in reality, you mentioned the aspect of community, which is true. You do form friendships, you do form connections, and you do form a sense of planning ahead. What resources do you have? What do you need? And I think
Yes.
those are the foundations and building blocks of team dynamics, which is something that I'm really fond of as well. Because if you're at a party and you are raiding a castle,
Yes.
or playing you mentioned strategy.
Mhm.
You need to work in a team, and you have different characters with different strengths. But ultimately, even though you're playing through an avatar,
Mhm.
you are the one controlling that avatar. So you making the choices.
I want to make two caveats. One, we're saying the word gaming, we mean playing games. We don't mean gambling.
Gambling, yes, for sure, yes,
Because that's a term that many people might confuse.
for sure, yes. Thank you for the
So I
clarifications.
think it's an important distinction. So we're talking about playing games for fun,
Yes,
not for money. Some people go professional.
yeah,
They go
esports, right?
as that. So
Yep.
with esports, but we're talking not about gambling, which is
Gambling.
another topic,
Yes.
right? Altogether.
Yeah.
And so that's playing games. And the next thing is, I think I was quite lucky in my who I got exposed to. So it was a bit of a free for all for me. I was in the basement, right, on my PC, early age. I was quite the rebel on that in that way. So I could have met the wrong kind of people, I guess. I was fortunate that I met good people and we had a good community. The internet was a bit in a different phase as well.
Yes.
There was less predatory
Yep.
nature to it. So people who were there to play games, for
Yes.
example. So it was a community of like-minded people. I can appreciate that today it might be it is even more dangerous, even with scammers, with all the stuff that's going on. So it is more dangerous. So
It wasn't weaponized so much at the point
as
in
a,
time.
in fact, it wasn't designed to make it as addictive as it
Yes.
is designed today. Now there's social media. High five was a excuse for social media. It wasn't really. It was just
It was the
going
prototype.
through profile pictures and saying yes, no, like
It was
they're
decorating your profile. That's what it was
as
essentially.
that. And you advertise yourself. You create a profile,
Yes.
and then you try to find. You try to date, so it
Yes.
was a bit different. So there's that. Those are two important caveats because I
Yes.
don't want to downplay the risks and but that's a bit how I got to where I am today. The games we used to play, and I think yes. So we used to meet in Parcheville back then, but a bit later,
Yeah.
right, when I was 16. But we had our corner in the park. There
Okay.
was a
Yes.
there's a park in Parcheville in the middle. Before it used to be where people used to meet.
Okay.
Nowadays, there's fence around it. It's no longer the same. But
Alright.
it was where everyone went to meet. I also happened to love metal and rock and that kind of.
Okay.
So we had these corners in this park where the
Coconut.
gamers were there.
Yes.
The hip hop people were there. The metalheads were there. I was somewhere between the metalheads and the gamers. But you knew that you would go there and there would be someone.
Yes.
So there was cases where I went to Parcheville alone. I know I'll find someone there. We used to meet there and we used to discuss strategy and tactics, right? We're going to attack that base. We're going to do landmines around it. That's how we're going to defend. We'll do clan wars. We had an online tournament, so we were at one point doing well. There were other teams as well. So it was competitive sports, tactics, very interesting, very good for teamwork.
Yes.
So we had a clan leader. I was good at infiltrating. The others were good at medics, healing. It was really fun, right? And we'd have these wars. We'd go in, fight in a virtual space.
Yes.
There's other benefits to. They say, for example, that computer gamers or they are better at spotting things while driving.
Okay.
So if a cat crosses the road, a person who's a
Okay.
gamer who's used to looking for targets,
Hypervigilance as well. to some degree.
they tend
Okay.
to be better at that type of
Okay.
activity. There's studies around it and things like that.
Interesting.
So there's benefits.
Okay.
There's negatives as well, right? But it was a bit of who I am. It is still an essential part of who I
Yes.
am. Now I am a father. I have a 3-year-old son, Jack, and after he goes to sleep around 9, I
It's
go on my
daddy's time.
PC and I can either paint models. I collect Warhammer.
Okay.
so
Which classes are they?
factions?
Factions.
I have lots.
Okay.
I have a lot. So I have the Warhammer 40k. Where I have
Okay.
the Tyrannies that watch gene stealer cults, loads. I'm
I
talking.
tried getting into that lore, but it's too vast.
It's beautiful, eh? It's
It's
quite nice. There's books.
yes. Whoever created that world
Mm-hmm.
must have had a world map which is huge.
Yes.
And the story, I
It's
know
the
very little.
biggest lore in science fiction. There's so many books, so much content. My main thing I like more is high fantasy, not science fiction. I like science fiction a lot. But when I was younger, at that age, the same age we were talking about, I used to read a lot of high fantasy books.
Okay.
Think Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Others though, there's other novels. So there's Forgotten Realms. It's the same universe of D&D, Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay.
We still played D&D with
That's
family as well. But in my opinion, that type of content, and it helped me a lot in writing, for example. So when I was in the professional world, then people used to come to me to help write their emails. Nowadays, they don't need me anymore
because
there's
write rules and
I used to, even in games, read a lot of text and novels and dragons and stories and things like that. Nowadays they don't need me anymore because there's AI. But back then people used to send me emails saying, "Can you make it a bit more diplomatic? Can you make it a bit more?" So I had a way with words and writing. I used to write articles on Malta Today.
Okay.
This is even before my other involvement and passion, which is politics. Recently, I decided to get into politics, but even before that, I was writing articles on Malta Today, all sorts of articles. I think it's so. This, I think, I got to the stage where I feel I need to be authentic online because of my exposure to the internet early on.
Okay.
So today you have a lot of people who don't like to share their personal life on the internet. I am the opposite. I share everything. And it's second nature for me to share everything. I enjoy it because it shows the good and the bad. So I've written articles on Malta Today. We've written, me and my wife together, we've written about depression, for example. We've written articles on that topic. Full transparency. We explained our story, our journey.
Okay.
We used to live in the UK. We had some. My wife had some complications around mental health, and then we came back, etc. We wrote about this in public, and it was very impactful for us and for others. For us, it helps us too, because to write about something, it really helps you acknowledge the problem. But it also helped a lot of people. I used to get messages from people. Thank you for people who you would think have zero issues with. They're always happy. They're always joking. They're the best people to be around with. But in their personal life, they were suffering. And writing about something like that, such a topic, really breaks the taboo and encourages them to get help that they might need, but also thinking about their own problem when they can, because you can't always think about those problems when you're suffering. So we've written about that publicly. It was a bit of a taboo to write about mental health. I also wrote when my mother passed away. I wrote articles about it. I wrote articles while we were going through that journey, and even when eventually she passed away. And again, sharing on grief, sharing on that type of problem really resonates well with people. And I think it's helping people by doing so. So there's loads of articles you can find that I've written online. My passion for writing came from my nerdish, geekish approach to books, etc. Back when I was younger, but it's something I enjoy doing. So some may consider it a bit of oversharing. We share anything, even on socials. There are some controls you can use to choose what is public, what is not. And being a bit native to technology, we know how to use those things. But still, I feel it's part of being authentic in today's world.
Is there something that you've shared that you regretted, perhaps?
I don't think so. I don't think so. In fact, before you entertain getting into politics, you might consider, let me check my socials to see whether ever I've shared
Yes,
something
yes.
that I might be ashamed of or that people will latch on to try to attack you. I don't think there's anything. And in fact, no, I don't feel that there is anything I'm ashamed of. Sometimes you make a post which might be silly, yes, but it's part of who you are as well. I have no regrets on that.
Okay.
So how did I get to this topic? Sharing online authenticity, being who you are always. Sometimes maybe in business you worry that you may have shared too much, so sometimes it's difficult to be somewhere and to keep a secret on what we're building.
Yes, yes.
And I'm so excited about it. I want to tell everyone.
Yes.
So maybe there are
I
times
found
where you
that
need to
that
keep a
helps,
secret.
to be honest. I found that if you share with even a prospective client, they might not be your client yet, but when you share something that you're really excited about, I found that it helps. At least it helped me.
yes.
Because you show when you're excited about something, that you're building something, and you might find people actually who would like to help you arrive from point A to point B.
100%. Sometimes you need to, if as a team we're still discussing something.
Yes, yes, yes.
And I go out there and I tell people that we're building something, then there's an expectation that we're going to build that
Yes,
something. So
yes.
the team might be a bit upset that I overshared. But on the whole, no, I have no regrets of sharing things, and I think it's essential in today's social media world and AI world as well to remain who you are always, right? There's no facade, in my opinion. There shouldn't be a facade. And that's a bit of the harm of the internet as well, because if people are putting up facades, right, they're always happy, everything is always good. Others are thinking, my life is terrible because look at these guys, their life is perfect. And I think that's bad to share only the good stuff. It's also bad to share only the bad stuff, because then you're going to depress everyone. It's going to, right? But you need to find that balance, ideally, and even for your own mental health, for your own well-being. You need to try to be positive. I'm a very positive person.
I think it because I do want to highlight this point because I'm not sure if you underestimate it or not. I think it takes a huge deal of courage to present yourself as who you are in a very authentic way. So it might not be as easy for someone to present themselves because of insecurities, self-esteem, confidence. Someone might not be happy with how they are and how they act, and even though they might be working on it, it's and everyone is a work in progress. I know that's a bit of a cliche term to say, but it's true. Essentially, we're all doing our best in our own different way, just to be just a little bit better, I believe. But it does take a huge deal of courage to be out there, put yourself out there, the good, the bad, and the ugly, in front of everyone, and in something on a platform, the internet, which is there to stay, sort of.
From what I've shared so far in my journey, etc., I honestly don't feel it is an act of courage. I don't feel it. For me, it's natural to be that way. What I might need to consider as maybe it is an act of courage is my involvement in politics.
Okay.
Because anyone I speak to, they tell me you're crazy, right? So there probably I am doing something which is not as normal for people who are in business, maybe for people who are of my background. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer. I'm a software engineer at heart. So maybe I'm a different profile. That said, I decided to, together with some friends and other people, I decided to found a new political party, which is also rare. So most people who get involved in politics in Malta will get involved on either one side or the other.
Yes.
We decided, and I got excited more by the idea of creating our own party because we want to be different from what is out there. So there I'm trying to bring a new kind of politics and authenticity, this who I am in business, who I am in my personal life, and who I am in politics. To me, they need to remain the same person. I don't like having different personas. Yes, I'm at work, I can adopt a little bit of a different style. Not everything is, politics is very different, of course. And at home, you're also very different. But I am the same person. And I think things would be better in the world if people are who they say they are always, rather than hiding their emotions, hiding their true selves in different contexts. I know it may be necessary. Probably I'm a bit naive in doing that. But to me, it's how things should be. So even if you see our WhatsApp chat, our work WhatsApp chat, I'm always joking around. I participate a lot. And sometimes I struggle to understand people who don't participate as much. I know there's different contexts, different kind of people. So I'm not naive in that sense. But still, I have some naivety in saying, why doesn't everyone share everything?
I'm curious, Mark, as you mentioned, not many people go into politics, especially founding a new political party. What, how did your expectations change over time, if they changed between perhaps following politics and now being into it?
Following politics, I had no illusion that it's messy and ugly. It can be ugly. Now that I'm into it, I think I've made the right choice in joining a new group of people because I can help shape it. I am applying a bit of my business organizational
acumen.
Yes, organizational skills, organizational style, cultural style as well. So in our company, we're very culture driven, as in we have a specific culture, good, well, I'm not going to say good, but a set of values and principles. And I am making sure that the same approach is applied in the political party. I feel, and the reason why I felt that I want to do things differently, because I feel there's a lack of values and principles. I'm not saying our values are better than those of others. This is not the point at this stage to argue about that. But keeping values at the core of what you do, I think makes a whole lot of difference at every step of the way. Even in business, we've had to remind ourselves and the people who join our teams as time went by that our values are very important. I make sure to do it at interview stage, I make sure to do it at induction stage, and regularly in my communication with the team, these are our values. We want to be authentic, we want to be curious, we want to be impactful, and we want to be courageous. Those are the values of our business. And in my political party, as in it's not the same people, just to distinguish, and they're completely separate. I've made sure to ensure that what we're building is value-based. So I do interviews like I do in business, right? So new people who want to join, volunteers, we interview them, we discuss, we make sure there's a match, a cultural match. So we're trying to
look out for.
Well, in politics, there's all sorts of things to look out for, right? There's ability to work with others. There's unfortunately, politics by nature, there is a strong element of ego in it. You believe you can make a difference. So anyone who says they don't have some level of ego, but it's probably not being honest, right? I got into politics because I believe I can do a good job at it. So there is, but you need to be able to work with those with different characters.
Yeah, and everyone has their own drive.
Yes, and there's communication style, whether you're rude to your colleagues and partners, whether you're so all the same things we look out for in an employee in business. No, you need to be able to work with others. You need to be able to be if you want to be a leader, a good leader. cooperation and listening, being willing to learn and improve. These are things that maybe in politics, and I found that it's more difficult to look out for, and maybe people are not used to it. They're not used to someone telling you, listen, we need to do training, we need to do courses, we need to have a coach, we need to explore our weaknesses, we need to grow as individuals. In business, I'm used to that. I have a coach in business. I meet someone once every week or once every month, and they tell me what I do. They suggest what I should improve, right? They ask the right questions. In these domains, they're not done as much. It's not normal, right? So what I'm bringing to the table in the political party, I'm general secretary of the party, so I have more of an organizational responsibility, even though I will also be a candidate for elections. Is those organizational skills, which in my opinion, especially as a small party, make a huge difference. You have very limited time, you have volunteers. In that time, you want to maximize your impact. And I found early on that most of the time is wasted in meetings that are not well structured. Right? So lots of gossip, lots of blah, 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 before you actually get to the point. I want to get to the point. I want to be efficient. Then we can
engage in gossip.
Do the small talk after and engage out. But a meeting needs to be structured.
Yes, definitely.
So that's something I bring into this space. I felt it was very lacking from what I could see.
Okay.
And it allows us to achieve more in the very little time, because this is part-time to our jobs, to our personal lives. So we need to be efficient. So that's something I'm really enjoying. I think it's working. And I am fortunate to have surrounded myself with people who are welcome these ideas and who are willing to work with those ideas. Not something that is positive is that early on we joined as a political party. So we're a new political party in Malta called Momentum, and we joined an international party, a European party, the European Democratic Party, EDP.
Okay.
It's big at a European level. We joined as members, and I was elected as Deputy Secretary General of the EDP as well. And this came about because of them seeing how we do things. They were following our campaigns even before we started the party. And then they had interactions with us, and they liked our style and approach. And I was fortunate enough to get this role. And so that's a sign of that we're doing something well.
Yes,
right?
Definitely.
And we look forward to continue working on this.
Mark, you mentioned
adventure.
The things that you took from your corporate work to the political part that you're part of. What's something that you took from the political party back to your corporate work?
Yes, I think negotiation, the range of characters, the range of people you get exposed to is broader. There's more things I'll explain more. But in business, as a recruiter, you're pickier in finding the right candidates. You have different people who want to join your organization. If you have a good reputation, people will want to join your organization. Whereas in politics, you don't want to turn down a good someone whose heart is in the right place.
Yes.
They might not be. You will be more open to a broader demographic, more broader backgrounds.
You meet people with coming from different walks of life.
Yes. And there you may need a bit more negotiation, right? You need to accept a bit more. It's a two-way street. You need to bring some discipline from business, but you need to sort of try to find the balance. So that was interesting in that sense, and I think it made me a better negotiator even in business, right? To be a bit more open and more accepting of different views. There's also the marketing element that I had to hone in politics, right? Filming videos,
Yes.
speaking to a camera, doing selfie videos, going on a live debate on television, something I had never done before. I think all of that adds to a skill set
Definitely.
of being a public speaker, which is useful for business, of course. Um, okay, I had an advantage that I had done a lot of public speaking as a company, but
Yes.
a debate is very different.
For sure, I can.
A debate
I can only
is
imagine.
very different. I haven't done enough yet, and I'm still learning. There's a long way to go. And I see a leader of our party, he has 40 years experience doing,
Yeah.
and I'm impressed every day by his memory, his ability to recollect details
Information.
and information, but also the style, being on the ball. I am a bit more, I need to think more before
Yeah.
I speak. So there's a lot for me to learn still. So maybe so far, we've only had the political party for 1 year. I've had learnings from it, but I'm sure there's a lot still to go. I still need to learn a lot. I'm very green in this area. Let's say that.
Definitely. I bet something that you've, I think, the first year or two I believe are the hardest,
Mhm.
because you get a lot of groundwork that you need to do.
Mhm.
But I appreciated you mentioning something which is a parallel to my current reality as well. As perhaps you would know, I've recently been elected as Chief Commissioner in Scouts. I'm in my last
Mhm.
month of
Mhm.
handover
Yes.
as we're recording this episode. And I obviously I see a different side to politics because in
Mhm.
every organization, in every company, whether it's private, an NGO, there is always an element of politics, not the what is called politica partigiana,
Mhm.
not that, but
Organization.
well, the organization
Yeah.
politics. So I do appreciate the importance of having a common vision, that we are aligned, the way we communicate, the way we
Mhm.
structure ourselves, the people that we surround ourselves with. So that's something which is, I think, important in every organization. And it ties back to what you are saying, Mark, about selecting the team players that come to your party or guild, depends on which game that you're
Mhm.
on,
Mhm.
so that you can play with your own strengths, identify the areas of improvement,
Mhm.
and actually create the impact that you want to create. So I see a lot of parallels
Yes.
in that, because ultimately we're dealing with and interacting with people. And I often say this phrase quite often. People are people. So whether they are in a political party, an organization, an NGO, doing volunteering, people are people. We have our
Yes.
own insecurities, we have our own fears, we have our own strengths, things that we're working on, struggles perhaps, and it's the baggage that we're carrying everywhere we go, right? And the way we interact with one another.
And I was before mentioning some of the articles I wrote. I mentioned some difficult times. I think from those. So if you were to think of me as a software engineer, a guy who was always in technology, maybe you might think that I'm out of touch with reality. Sometimes you could be. If you're stuck in your computer and you just see that reality, you might be out of touch with reality. Fortunately, there's a lot of information online. If you look in the right place, you can learn. And learning is a key part of development.
Yes.
Reading books, I listen to a lot of audiobooks, etc. But these life experiences, and I think these two, the ones I mentioned, so um, dealing with some mental health issues in our family and uh, the loss of my mother, the journey, it was um, I would recommend that you read it was an interesting journey, interesting in the sense of tragic but interesting, because we were at a stage where at one point my mom was she had been suffering for a long time of a disease, but at one point we were in hospital and they told us, listen, there's no hope. She's a few days left. We need to and she'll be gone. And then I remember the doctor speaking and saying to the nurses, go all in with antibiotics, give it all it takes. Let's try to do this. Let's try to save her. They did that and she recovered. So it was a really close brush to death, we were gathered around her, me and my brothers. We knew it was the end, but then she came back, and we had another full year, a very good year with her. And during that year, I made the commitment to be there as much as I could. And I have all these video calls recorded. So I used to record every video call I had with her. And to me, I was consciously aware that she's going to be gone soon. And that gave me this exposure, this awareness that we don't have a lot of time, right? There's a recent book I read. It's called 4,000 Weeks.
Okay.
It's the amount of weeks we have alive. 4,000 weeks. Is it 4,000? I hope it's 4,000. But it's a small number.
Okay.
And then you start thinking that every week that goes by is one less, right? So there's not many weeks to waste. And in this year, it was our bonus year. I am very happy that I spent it the way I spent it. It was tragic still that eventually we lost her, and it was a shock still, right? Because things were looking okay. But from that, I sort of these experiences, and I had a friend who recently lost his father, and I was telling him, it will change you forever. You look at life differently when you lose someone you care so much about. We all had funerals. Everyone loses someone, but when you lose someone who's really close to you, I think it will hit a switch, right, where you realize that things are. So this was an interesting, from a scientific sense, an interesting experience.
Yes.
So I'm a bit of a scientist deep down, but it brings you closer to the humanity of it all, and what do we do with the little time that we have? How do we maximize, in my opinion, how I think I should maximize the time I have. I've tried a bit of these mindfulness things. For me, for now, it's not the time. I want to work hard. I want to really be active all the time. I'm sure there will be a time and place to meditate and to relax and to. My meditation for me is playing games online and painting some models. So that gives me the break I need.
Yes. And what I'm appreciating, what you're saying and sharing, Mark. First of all, thank you for sharing. I appreciate that it's something painful. Although we grow through pain and hardships, so it's not never easy to lose someone that you love and someone that you're close to. So as well, if there is someone who is grieving, who is listening or viewing this, you mentioned, Mike, that you've recently met with a friend, one of yours. We all go through it at different stages of our lives, and it doesn't mean that if everyone goes through it, it's not relevant enough. On the contrary, but it means that we all have our own story and passageway through which we overcome.
If I can add, so when you meet people who have lost someone close to them, they know. Usually they know already. But when I meet people who are younger, who fortunately, some lose a loved one really early on and they get the shock early on. But I try to tell them about this story because I think it makes you appreciate what you have more, right? So, and with every loss, I like to think about who's left. And actually, they might be gone soon. So maybe I should dedicate more time to those people. Now, I know everyone's busy. We have our lives. We have business. We have our nuclear family. You need to spend time with your nuclear family. You have politics or different things or hobbies. So we're always in a blur. There's a lot to do. But I strongly recommend that the people spend time with those people and put away your phone. I struggle with that a lot, right? During this year that I used to spend a lot of time with my mom, I used to make sure, put my phone away, be there, speak to her, talk to her. So I would recommend, if possible, I know it's very difficult because technology is addictive and I have that problem too, try to consciously be in the moment and appreciate the people you have around you. I know this is not maybe normal discussion you would get from someone who's more into business, but even at work, I'm hyper efficient. I'm very focused on being efficient and productive, but I love to go to team events. I love to spend time with the team. So Now I feel it a bit more that I can't do as much of that because also I need to go home. I have a son and I need to spend a lot of time with my son. I enjoy doing that. But being present in every team event used to be one of my favorite things to do. Now I'm less there, but I try.
Mark, I see a lot of parents. Yeah, I'm going to ask you the question that I get the most, or second most. You were involved in various things. You wear different hats. You show up in different capacities. How do you manage or balance that?
Uh-huh. A lot of people ask me this. How do you manage to do all these things? I think using technology the right way, it makes a big difference to me. So sometimes I may come across when I'm working as maybe too abrupt or maybe too. So I don't know, let's say I have a task which is send press releases for Momentum, political related task. Um, Early on, I had to tell my colleagues, listen, make sure that the time you spend doing the press release is focused and that you give me a good press release so that when I have the time to send the press release, I just hit send. So, does this mean that I'm delegating responsibilities? Not exactly, but I want to do the little time I do, which is the task of sending the press release. I do it as efficiently as I can. So I have a tool called Zapier to automate. I have a tool called, so I make sure that I can press a button and move to the next thing. So there's a hyper focus on efficiency in every task. Sometimes I drive my wife crazy with this. So if I need to do the dishes, if I need to empty the dishwasher, I have a system of how to do it. First, I put everything outside, and then I put them in the cupboard. My wife wants to do everything one at a time.
Okay.
I don't like that. So we argue about this. But
I'm laughing because we're so much alike. I didn't realize that we're so much alike.
and it's to me is, and this is something that sometimes we argue about, is I tell her, listen, okay, Saturday we need to do some chores, etc. If and she is the boss in these things, right? If you need me to do 5 things, tell me what those 5 things are, and I'll do them. But then leave it up to me, and I'll do them as efficiently as I can.
Yes.
Because I want to finish, and I want to go and relax. Whereas some people who are more maybe OCD-ish or meticulous, they just want to, they will spend a lot of time doing these things because maybe they enjoy them more than I do. So I try to slot things into these, and even at work, I'm like that. So with tasks, etc. So sometimes I barrage messages and things like that. But I focus. I am able to focus. And a technique I adopted at work, thanks to a coach who suggested I do this, and then I went all in with it, is I block time on my calendar, no meetings. So every week,
Deep work.
every week I prepare next week with no meeting slots. Because before I had a problem. My calendar was being booked by meetings all the time. Now I have these slots, they're colored on the calendar, no meetings, and in brackets, please respect this. I write it in the calendar.
Okay.
So when my colleagues see it, they know that this is focus time.
Okay.
Don't put a meeting in it. So Halli, eventually I might tell you, okay, use the no meeting slots if you're really struggling to find a meeting slot. But in principle, I want to save time for the things that I should be doing in every part of my life. So I want to relax. I like to relax. I like to play games. I mentioned. I like to paint my models. And so those require a lot of detail, right? With our clothes like this. This weekend I went to play a game of Warhammer with a friend. There's less time nowadays to play, but I enjoy doing it, and I feel it refreshes my batteries as well. So I think you need to try to find a balance. Yes, it may seem like you're loving one thing to the next, but my character is I enjoy doing things. I don't like being passive. So when I use my phone a lot, yes, but I use it usually for messages. So group chats, or the group chats of colleagues, of friends, and I'm interacting. I don't use it to scroll on social media. I hate TikTok, for example. I don't like. the addictive nature of it makes
Yes,
me
yes.
averse to it.
And it's sometimes you catch yourself. Oh,
Mhm,
okay,
mhm,
you have to sort of like wake yourself up
mhm, mhm.
because it's really good at what it does. It's
Yes,
programmed
it's
to do.
designed to do it.
Extremely good. So I do catch myself
Mhm,
scrolling from
mhm,
time to
mhm,
time.
mhm.
You know, it's I need to
My
completely.
biggest problem with my phone is messages,
Yeah.
emails. Emails not so much because that's maybe one of my tricks. But I get
I don't.
criticized. I don't do emails not much.
Yeah, that's not because it's not efficient. For me, at least, it's not efficient enough to send an email
Mhm.
on the phone.
Yes.
You're faster doing it on the PC or laptop.
Something I heard recently. I read and heard audiobook in a book. I think it was 4,000 Weeks. If you're efficient at emails, the result is more emails because people will reply to you.
Yeah.
When you reply, and it's an infinite drain of time.
Yes.
I'm very bad with emails. I don't
I
do.
think you need to differentiate between an email and a meeting. Sometimes some things are better sorted out
True.
through an email,
Mhm.
but then there are things that need to be done over a meeting.
Mhm.
And sometimes knowing when to step in, it's important. Recently, I was having a conversation with, uh, with, with, with a superior of mine, and I told him, listen, I think it's best if we have a meeting following an email because it will solve
Yes.
it will be more time efficient because if we send an email it might be misunderstood and you go back and forth
100%.
and it's countless hours, but in a half an hour meeting you'll get it sorted, you'll solve it, and most probably you'll think of another thing,
Yes.
of a better way of how to tackle it. So sometimes an email has to shift to a meeting and the meeting has to shift to an email.
Correct. Sometimes it's one way, sometimes it's the other.
Yes.
But this hyper efficiency, this obsession with efficiency, I think so far it has allowed me to do more things.
Yeah.
I don't exclude that at some point in my life I might get tired of doing that, but so far I feel I'm full of energy to do that, and I don't want to slow down. 4,000 weeks,
Yes.
so I'm
So
trying to maximize what I can do. I enjoy it. I admit I enjoy it. I have another small. So I like the quote, "Jack of all trades, master of none."
yeah.
Recently, someone told me that the quote continues. The quote says, "Better than a master of one." So everyone used to Jack of all trades, master of none. They stop there, but actually it's Jack of all trades, master of none, better than a master of one. That's the
Okay.
official if you look it up.
Okay.
And I have a bit of that approach. So I like to do everything. So if we were doing marketing videos, how hard can it be? I installed Premiere Pro, I started doing, and I learned and I enjoy doing, and I do them.
Yes. It takes a lot of time though.
Yes,
But-
yes, yes. But I like to dabble in different things, and I think I
Yes.
got this from my father, who their generation, maybe I don't know if your parents were the same, but they do everything. So
Yes.
my dad used to do welding. He built his own boat. He built his own pool. Anything he wanted to do, he did it himself. Always. He just, if someone else can do it, I can do it.
Yes.
That kind of attitude. So that has helped me to depend less on finding a resource that can do something. So
Yeah.
I can do a lot of things.
And there's enjoyment in doing it yourself
Mhm.
and seeing a product, let's say, go from nothing to something.
Yes.
So I think there's joy in that.
I am more hands-on in technology, obviously. So, but I won't do electricity, for example. Whereas the generation before us used to do everything.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So,
There's a limit. There's a
yes,
limit.
yes.
there.
I don't like to risk my life. So, but that's a bit of I guess, another skill that has helped me do a lot in the limited time that I have. Right? So to juggle these roles,
Mhm.
sometimes you need to do different things.
Yes.
And so far I'm enjoying it, and I plan to continue doing so.
Mark, we're nearing the end of our episode. So as promised, I'm going to ask
Mhm.
you to choose one of these and read it out loud.
Mhm.
You can. I have long arms.
Okay, let's see. What's your favorite quote that inspires your personal development?
You already said one. Jack of
Maybe
all
I've
trades.
already said that. There's many. There's a maybe, but personal development. Because there's a set of videos that I watch very often. Do you know who Richard Feynman is?
No.
Richard Feynman was a Nobel Prize winner scientist. He worked on the atomic bomb, amongst other things. He was part of the Manhattan Project.
Okay.
But I find he's a real inspiration to me. He's a scientist, scientific mind. There's one video, I think I know the whole video by heart. One of the videos is called Beauty, and it talks about the beauty of nature and how, as a scientist, you can appreciate nature more than someone who's just an artist. He was arguing with an artist in it. But that's not really a quote on personal development. I'm struggling to think of a quote about personal development.
Or if a phrase that came to mind through a book that you read or you listened to, something that remained with you, like a slogan or a motto of yours that you always go back to.
No, give me some time to think.
It's not a debate, no worries. I can fill the time for you.
Yes. So I am really passionate about this jack of all trades thing. I think it's part of who I am, right? I want to do all sorts of small things. And when I learned the better than a master of one thing, it felt reassuring, because so far I was thinking, damn, I'm not doing,
You're on the right track.
But before I felt that I'm probably doing something wrong by trying to be a jack of all trades. Let me think. There's the, maybe it's a bit of a cliche, but it's from a speech. It's from a speech of Kennedy around the space program.
Okay.
There's two, actually. There's Kennedy and there's the other one. Who was it? Another US president. So the one of Kennedy is, we do these things not because they are easy, but because they are hard. When he was talking about the moon mission. So you choose a goal which is difficult just for the sake of it, just so you can do your utmost. Yeah. So that's really, I think of that a lot. And then there's the Man in the Arena speech of another president, US president. It's not normal nowadays to quote US presidents because the quotes are not very nice anymore. But he has this quote, this speech about the man in the arena, and that it's important to get in the trenches, to get your hands dirty, to try things and to learn how to do things. So you can't just be a leader who, in my opinion, I don't like being a leader who just complains about how things should be done or who just dictates how things should be done, but I like to get my hands dirty. I like to code. I still enjoy coding. Yeah. And I feel that as a leader, if I'm expecting someone to do something, to me, I want to be able to do it myself. Not because I don't trust that person to do it, but because I can relate more to the task at hand. So that speech, I find it really inspiring. It validates a bit my worldview, and I think it's good. It's good to create better leaders that can empathize with their teams. Obviously, it's not about the leader. So I was only able to get the product and the business where it is today thanks to the team that we have. And surrounding yourself with the right people amplifies who you can be, and that's very important. So I'll use those two quotes. Maybe they're a bit of a cliche quotes, they're popular quotes, but I really,
as long as it sticks,
inspired.
But with 5 seconds of silence, you managed to summon two quotes. So
I struggle with remembering things this way. So I read a lot of books, I enjoy reading them, but then when I'm pressed on the moment to remember something, I need to think. And so that takes some, that's maybe a flaw that I have.
As long as you're allowed to have some time to think. I do need that from time to time. So it's something that until I do a decision. So it's something.
But I'm sure I'll leave here and then I should have to get that's a really
it always happens.
Yes,
that always happens. I think that's I should have said that. It happens
Yes,
every
yes,
time.
yes.
So
Mhm.
I know that I'm reassuring you quite a lot, but it does. It's very true.
Yes.
Mark, thank you for being here. I really enjoyed our conversation. I appreciated that I got to know you a little bit more because we've had some conversations here and there
Yes.
throughout these past years, but we've never sat down and had a proper chat. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you for the opportunity. It was also very interesting for me to hear, to learn more about you as well. And um, I hope people enjoy this insight.
And one last thing, obviously, thank you for providing this space in which I'm able to produce this content. So it's thanks to you and
It's a
your colleagues,
pleasure.
of course, and that you're allowing me to use this space here as well.
You're welcome.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Mark.
Cheers.